Hello and welcome back, everyone. Happy Sunday. Today we will be continuing a Russia stream, or our little Russia run that we had. They say you shouldn't. Oh wait, I was gonna do a Russian pun, but I was in a hurry and I didn't think it through. That's terrible. How's everyone doing today? Waiting for the California Republic run. I have been harassing so many modders to make a Texifornia mod where California and Texas, the two states, get merged. And I don't mean anything in between. I mean just California and Texas. Consumption taxes are the new meta for 1.8. Yeah, if you have the authority. Authority seems a lot better in 1.8 specifically. You have to actually get the ball rolling on your consumption, though, too, which generally is a function of, like, your urban economic activity. Like, consumption taxes generally don't pay out too much if you're, until you're urbanized. I mean, I think that per capita taxation's insanely good, because land-based taxation, or relative to land-based taxation is just super regressive on your peasants. And this is regressive on your urban pops. And so, I imagine that you can run per capita taxation on high taxes without running into the brick wall of radicals so much easier. I mean, we're passing it right now, but yeah, you can't run super high taxes, generally speaking. So, the question is, how do you make the money? Hello to Mir incoming? Man, the truth hurts. Hey Dolbeak, how's it going? Mexico run when? Mexico's actually on the table of something we could do sometime soon. Maybe on stream. We have like, we have Austria run coming up. I might even publish later today, I'm not sure. I want to try and do 2 videos a day or 2 things a day, if one of those is a stream that works for us. We have quite a bit of remaining infamy here. I imagine that we're just supposed to continue to subjugate down here. This is just kind of, in my opinion, kind of unambiguously the way to go super early on. Do we have an interest up there? We don't. We haven't gotten South Africa stuff though yet. So that might be better even. I've started to, like, enjoy taking Zulu instead of Gaza because Zulu doesn't create the Shadow Realm bug, but Gaza's just better because it actually gets you a better colonization front. Yeah. I've been getting complacent. I think we'll go for this. Unless we were planning on doing something specific. I guess, like, also, one of the things is, you get the -2, ticking negative relations no matter what you do. Which is incentive to be more aggressive about annexing people if you haven't annexed anyone already. So maybe we're actually just supposed to annex people. Why can't we annex him? Nine infamy? Okay, it's not a lot of pop. And it's like no resources. Yeah, we're not gonna do that. We still want to go after recognized people more. I think we're just going to go for Venezuela, New Granada. We're also not done getting our mandate stuff up, so I think this is better. Even high taxes, we're giving you too many radicals. Who are you playing? I think that high taxes, like, I mean, I think you have to get on, like, 10 or 11 SOL for it not to be a bit of a problem, but, like, it's easier to get there. It'll be easier. I mean, I definitely think you want to run low gov wages, but it'll be easier to get there under some circumstances. I really think passing per capita is going to be... Obviously, proportional is going to be better, but overall... Is Dracula still available? I don't know. This is a good question. My understanding is he's going to be available through the end of November, but I'm not 100% sure. I kind of hope that they never take him out of the game and just make it so that you have to turn on the setting. Like, I don't see a reason to take him out of the game if you're going to include the setting where you can turn off supernatural characters, because it's like people who complain about monuments. I think they are just like whinging because you can turn off monuments. Yeah. They also get plus 20 Liberty Desire. All of them? Yeah. I think it's not worth it. You're playing as Russia? We've managed high taxes pretty well here. Although I don't know if the situation's slightly different. Another thing is, like, it could be the case that, you know, actually caring about your pops, your lower rung pops, like breadbasket, is relevant. For example, there's, like, not a lot of food here. Tiflis. Where is Tiflis? Wait, what? And it could be the case that if you, like, try and fix the breadbasket problems, then maybe you don't run into other issues as much. Oh, I hate this state. Not because I dislike Georgia, but because it's got, like, infinite construction malice. Yeah. And it has gold, so you want to build here, but you can't. You want to cry, but you can't. Also, what's the efficiency going on giving land to subjects so you don't have to deal with bigotry? This is another interesting point, is that with the higher levels of discrimination, like vassal feeding, with the idea of annexing them later, can become a lot more attractive too. Like Qing, you would actually want, if you could. Like, the value of peasants is relatively low. If you could just, like, give away some of your peasants temporarily as Qing, you would want to. What countries is Dracula available? You need Romanian as your primary culture, I think. So, Wallachia and Transylvania if you release play as. So the easiest way is to start as Austria, release Transylvania. I don't know what's really different between your runs, but you have, like, 8 million more pops than I had around this time, despite me having more GDP. Did you take Beijing? We could try and figure it out. I haven't really conquered many states, so I don't think it's that. I think if you haven't taken Beijing, it would be exactly that. I think that's the only state I've taken. Oh, I went food standardization first. I also built a little bit, I don't know if you just haven't watched this at all, Connor, but I've built a little bit of stuff to try and avoid starvations. I don't think that's gonna, I don't think that's gonna make a difference of 8 million pops, though. That seems, insane. I might have caused more turmoil in other places of the world, forcing more mass migrations. I don't really know. That doesn't seem like it would cause 8 million either, though. That's just zooming me on the market capital, isn't it? I mean, there's a couple spots that were kind of starving earlier, and I put down a food thing. So I think that building a single food industry in a lot of places is going to be really good for food access, but I'm not really sure. I don't know, if you want the dirt, you should just conquer it, except for 1 or 2 vassals throughout the game. Yeah. Is there a lot more demand for food now? I don't know if... I don't think there's more demand. It's just if you don't have enough food, you're gonna hit this you're gonna hit the starvation penalty, which is really substantive. minus 70% birth rate plus 60% mortality. Like, if you hit this in just 10% of your country, that's, like, a lot. And, like, so if you're hitting it in 2% of your country, as we are, you know, it's gonna make it so you'd rather not do that. What is our lobby opportunity? Alliance with Prussia. We could go that route. We would have to stop doing a few of these. Who is in that lobby? We'll make the Intelligentsia and them really happy. Sweden we could potentially get on our side. Bavaria is a really nice one for us to rival though here. I guess let's stop improving relations and yeah, maybe see about Alright, well Prussia can't do it. The truth hurts. Well, we could try and get Sweden into our block. Actually, Sweden's probably going to give us problems. Because they're probably going to try and form the country and try and eat Finland. You buy the expensive Poe pack? Poe 2 looks great. I haven't yet. I probably will. I have to take a look at the price. Rename the capitalist as Generalist City. The Russians would hate that. Russians in chat would unite. What do you think of Pivot of Empire so far? Would you recommend it? So, I really like the patch. I think that the DLC itself is less important, but I think if you're playing a lot of the game and you like the patch, that you should consider getting the DLC just to support development of the game, which I've cited a couple spots. I also think that you do not need the patch, or you do not need the DLC to decide whether or not you like the patch, so you could just play on it. The only thing is, if you're planning on playing India, I would probably get the patch. If you're not planning on playing India, it's probably not important, something like this. Oh, we forgot to turn on all the tool stuff. We have a trade agreement with them. Definitely love importing steel at the start. Yeah, 8 million's a ton, Connor. I don't know what would cause that exactly. You can see this is us taking Beijing, and then this is pop growth. So, hey Golden Turtle, how's it going? When is it good to integrate and change the capital as Russia? If you're going to change the capital, I think it's generally best to do it at the start of the game. One of the main things that you're going to get from the capital is going to get a lot more financial districts and manor houses appearing there over the course of time. And I don't think it's the case that you want to accumulate some in one spot and then move the capital to another spot and then accumulate more in the other spot. I think that the presence of manor houses and financial districts creates a ton of local consumption, and that this makes it very, very attractive if you're going to have one place that's stacked really high to use manufacturing industry's decree. in that spot. And in the case of like just using it in the capital is pretty nice. It's also going to affect services. So the urban center will generally be more profitable. I think urban centers got nerfed this patch though. I haven't taken a close look at urban centers in a long time. Kharkiv got his name changed. Yeah. Russia has a ton of great options though, for a place to put its capital. We thought about Yaroslav as well. The key thing is we wanted to put it on a place with a mappy river, like at least 10 iron and a lot of arable land, and this kind of seemed like the best choice. We have 28 iron here, and we do indeed have the mappy bonus. We also have the black soil, which is pretty nice as well. Because food security seems to be a very significant problem in places that heavily industrialize, because you drive up the price of... it has to do with... Food insecurity has to do with... I still need to take a closer look at it, but it has to do with the price of goods and the price of the buy basket of food of the pop relative to like their total income. And specifically, if those things are expensive, it makes it way easier to be food insecure. And so when we're having a bunch of immigration to a place because it's a major metropolitan area, then it becomes a lot easier. And so specifically trying to push down the price of food a little bit seems good. But we have a really low sample size on this. This is why we built this, though, is to push down the food price. The Dnipro states are strong, yeah. No Moscow is capital. Well, the problem with Moscow is I think it's not on a river. And it's also... There's no river... Oh, is there a river bonus? There is a river bonus, but okay. The secondary thing is, though, even though it has a lot of iron, only 60 arable land, and so once you get to like 15 million, I think is the number, pops, you will start experiencing the malice for like pop growth due to overcrowding. Maybe that's not too big a deal, I don't know. Kharkov capital worked out very well for you. Yeah, it seems pretty good. There's a couple other places. You could argue for like wanting to put it on the coast as well. We need to add construction here. We are really struggling with qualifications though. Moscow does have a couple universities, if I recall correctly, like I think actual two. So that's why we're building construction sectors there, but some of these have a bit of a hard time building up. We could use our one time here. Seems a little aggressive. And when to start integrating states? Generally, you should be pretty aggressive about integrating stuff if it's under 5 years, but we're actually having a huge bureaucracy problem because our... And this is like a bit interesting, and we haven't really figured this out too much yet, but government buildings don't employ up very much. Qualifications seem much harder to achieve, and so... You get a bunch of people on Reddit complaining that, you know, employment is broken. I think it's just the qualifications. We didn't, in the 2 runs we had, the Austria run, because of reasons, we didn't really have much employment issues. And then the EIC run, like, the first thing we did when we opened up was we have, like, 4 states, that have a lot of pop and like basically infinite authority on the EIC, so we promoted social mobility. So we didn't encounter the problem until playing as Russia here as much. So, what about Kiev? Kiev would be good. Kiev would be better. You cannot put your capital in Kiev. The game does not let you. I think I would prefer Kiev because I think it has more arable land and like a better bonus. but you are not allowed to move your capital to Kiev because it's not a homeland of primary culture. So, are you saying Redditors aren't qualified? Something like that. Like, I don't know, the people who are upset with the development of Victoria 3 are like, the people who are most vocal and most upset are people who... Did we not put an interest up there? Okay, we're stupid. I've been waiting for the interest to appear up there for like forever now. I'm like, when's this interest getting there? The people who seem most vocal about like disliking the trajectory of the game and like this type of stuff, they seem to, their chief complaint seems to be about the military, which I don't even like think that they're wrong that the military overall in Victoria 3 is not that great. I just think that if that's important to you, you should probably just be playing a different game. I really want to play around with some more investment agreement type of interactions. What changed with the new update? A lot changed with the new update. A lot. Like, the update's a little bit subtle, but like, right now, for example, we're kind of talking through and thinking through a lot about how qualifications are a lot different, and qualifications are seemingly matter now. Qualifications, like, haven't mattered for, I think, at any point in time. So, but yeah, discrimination's big, and important in this patch, and also, like, the political movements just dramatically changes how law passings work. In your run, you basically couldn't get any military qualifications despite expecting everyone, so I'm not sure it's fully working correctly. You start off on peasant levies, though, right? Did you get off of peasant levies? Yeah, I mean, I suppose it might not be working right. It's possible the Redditors are correct. I haven't done too much watching of military specifically. I haven't noticed, like, just completely not being able to employ it military, though, on some of the other runs. Yeah. 600 states to electrify? Not like this. I think we'll go after this here. Although maybe we're supposed to take Panama if we want to have it eventually. Hue has been exiled. My biggest complaint is qualifications. Interesting. I mean, do you guys think it's bugged? I don't think it's bugged. I just think the qualifications matter. But I suppose I haven't seen... my sample size on this patch is still relatively small. In South America, it's always better to go for instead of Southeast Asia. I love to get Siam and Vietnam. Well, very important for the generation of mandate is that the countries you go for are recognized. And it seems to be the case that... so for mandate generation, you get a bunch from having minor power members. This excludes unrecognized countries. But also further... at the outset of the game, you will not have a couple of things. You will not have colonial offices, which reduce infamy generation against unrecognized powers, and you probably should get that later if you're doing low infamy. And you will also not have civilizing mission, and you might not even have, which also gives the same modifier, and you might also not have colonization, although we have colonization. This makes it so that, relative to what you will experience later, it is cheaper to go for recognized powers. Now, it's not cheaper to go for recognized powers like in an absolute sense, but since we will be getting a discount on Siam, Burma and Dainam later, if we are going to ever at any point in time go for recognized powers, it's better to go for recognized powers at the beginning of the game. Famines could get dangerous. We haven't experienced like a full-blown famine. We're kind of a little bit aggressive about preventing it. Maybe we should actually intentionally try and cause one. And just so we could see how bad they are. Reddit is only good when actual historical discussions happen. Game design-wise, it feels like only people... there's only people that wanted the game to be another one. Yeah, I mean, like, if you want, like, Victoria 3's military system, don't get me wrong, it's, like, it's not very good, but, like, even if it were good, they disagree with the design, which is, like, this very, in an ideal world, like, it's a very hands-off sort of system. I haven't noticed anything buggy. I don't have a large sample size, though. Yeah, this is kind of where I'm at with a lot of stuff. I don't know, like, are we not employing up the barracks? I mean, we're not employing up these, but I'm pretty sure it's qualifications. We just don't generate qualifications very quickly, it looks like. Like, we are getting there, but it seems like trying to have a massive influx of anything government building just is really sluggish, and so if you just put a bunch of stuff on immediately, you're going to have problems. We're looking to get New Russia Limited. Also, New Russia Company was paying insane wages, like 120 per company. Interesting. Per worker. In the company? So you mean in the company ownership building? I think our company ownership building is in Moscow. We were keeping track. So we started with 5 of 129 of the buildings were owned by the logging. To be fair, a couple of these are owned overseas, but let's put a couple down in Perm and Ural. These are employing up. The construction sectors seem to be a little bit more effective at employing up. Let's see, where's another place where we're gonna have Samara has a lot, do they? Kursk, we already have a bunch of construction sectors in Kursk. Kherson, we have construction sectors there. Ural and Perm, we've put them down. This province, we have a couple. Let's add one. We're looking for places that have really high iron potentials. Warzawa. We'll build a single one. Oh, wait. There we go. That should be good. Warzawa has got some pretty good company, if I recall correctly. Or like Lil Pop and Co. or whatever is here. Maybe we'll actually do that instead of the other one. You can see exactly how many qualifications you're getting per month at the bottom of each building for each state. At the bottom of the buildings page. Let's take a look. Where's the per month figure? Got a little bit of unemployment, but... Oh, here. How much we generate per month. The constant secession movements going in and out of the revolution is annoying. Well, when people agitate... I was thinking about this the other day, and to some extent it's kind of an amusing... it's an amusing part of the simulation, because when people agitate for change, they're generally pretty annoying, no? Overseas secessions are bugs? Yeah. Also, the fact that you can't restructure your military because of it is also annoying. You had it over next to the qualification. Yeah. Thank you, Yankees fan. But the thing is, like, for the longest time, qualifications have just been completely irrelevant. I think I'm kind of excited that they're now relevant. I think it's going to make the game a bit of a headache. Like, right now, we actually would want to make the expand the university. Let's actually add a level. But qualifications are such an enormous problem. We were planning on fighting USA, like, repeatedly. But I don't think we want to fight them in that way. Did anyone join them? No. They did not. But we're just, like, making tons and tons of money here. Let's maybe add in Warzawa in here. And then take another look at where we have a lot of iron. Samara, yeah, we already have a couple construction sectors there. Having to spread it out really kind of changes things a little bit. Cola really got a ton of iron. I imagine they have almost no pop though, yeah. Let's incorporate it. I hate states like this. We're never gonna get any pops here because the arable land thing. God, that sucks. We'll build a fishing wharf. Maybe that'll help to increase SOL. I don't know. Pull pops out of the peasant farms. I mean, I guess getting people to move to Siberia should be hard, but most of these states here are really strong and don't cost a lot of bureaucracy to incorporate, so we'll kind of take a look at some of those. They're also like 21-year incorporations. But let's also see the... It could be the case that we shouldn't do New Russia Limited. So this is the company we were planning on doing, but here's the one that maybe is better. Steel mills in either Plok or Warzawa has to get to level 3. If we don't go this one, we won't have a coal potential, but I'm still not sure which tooling company I think is the best between this and the one in Belgium. I think it's probably the one in Belgium, but not 100%. Also, our sample size on companies is pretty bad. So, like, if companies are not, like, fixed in terms of acquisition of market share, we would prefer New Russia Limited pretty clearly. If they are fixed, we maybe prefer Lil Pop. And the main reason is, I think that which company you pick to put in early is actually incredibly important. We'll put a steel mill auto-expanding in Warzawa, though, here. I don't know. Trust in New Russia? You got a huge market share on Russia in your last game? Okay, that's good to know. We could also do both, but I don't know. I guess that's a bit of an experiment. Alright, we have another thing we could go for. Vassalization 3 or food security 2. I'm thinking food security 2, which is going to give us minus mortality. And it's possible that after we get the +1 standard of living, we might be able to even run high taxes. The thing is, we're having just enormous problems with qualifications. To some extent, it might be the case that we should just be paying higher government wages as well. For qualifications reasons. Alright, this guy's not gonna back down. I don't think we can deck on the Caucasus yet, or these guys. Yeah, we have like a whatever flavor event that prevents us from doing it. Let's add a couple more construction sectors in the capital as well. We're ramping up pretty nicely though here, it feels like, just at this exact point. We have a lot of events. Hopefully we get the event that kills our leader. Our leader really sucks. We'd much prefer Mr. Romanov. I mean, we have Mr. Romanov, but we would prefer Mr. Romanov, yeah. Boo. No stalling out. Absolute freaking classic. What is our timer on the humiliation and the truce? We just did it. So we would lose the war reps we have. I'm really curious why they're so worried. So we could go for war goals, but I think I like getting the war reps. We could do something that I think is generally not very good, which is we could try and give them military assistance. Relations are too bad. Do companies always need government loan levels to be completed? This got hotfixed. They didn't need them before. Or, I mean, they needed them before. I don't think they needed them now. Austria sides with Egypt. That works for us. That works for us. Let's tax T here. Alright, it's a little bit tempting to use our one time now. Bureaucracy is just perma-increasing, even though our pop's increasing, because we have a bunch of bureaucratic buildings that are not yet employed up. We could also use another decree for promote social mobility in another spot. Warsaw is maybe attractive. It's got 2.6 million pops. How discriminated are the Polish in our country? I think they'll be really discriminated against, huh? Yeah. And that does affect qualifications. How is it currently affecting us? I think we're on nat supremacy, so if they're in the low tier, that's in, like, there'll be an open prejudice after the religious factor. Or no, wait, they might be the wrong religion. Shout out to being the wrong religion. So if they're in open prejudice, minus 10 qualifications, minus 50% if they're in erasure. It's a lot of percents. Oh, we were thinking of taking California as well. Do you have any goal or testing for this run? I mean, just general kind of. We're trying to get a feel for the new patch. It often, like, so one of the problems is, like, you want to release tutorials on the new patch, but, like, it often feels like you have to get at least a couple hundred hours to, like, really feel like you really know what's going on. And then by then, you've, like, all the people who, like, the big bump you get from the new patch people is, like, gone. So, like, it incentivizes you to, like, talk about stuff when you don't know really what's truly going on yet. I think we don't mind having attraction to that. Alright, Central Asia, fair enough. We'll send you. I wish we had the Great Game journal entry. We didn't start it through the Great Game thing, so we don't have that. We need to research railways on all of Tomsk. Research civilizing mission. Is it? I think Qing has the other piece of Tomsk. Yeah. Wait. Where's the other piece of Tomsk? Is that just dynamically named into something else? That might be just dynamically named. We have 3 years left on that. How much are we currently getting through Diplo Pacts? 20k. How are you liking Russia so far this patch? Russia's been interesting. They start with really low literacy, so qualifications are a bit of a problem. Another dumb company question. Do the building levels need to be in the state the company gets incorporated in? I do not think so. I'm not 100% sure. But I think it can pull from different states. Starting through the Gate game changes a few things, like it gives the UK a plus 100 preference to support Persia. I hate how that's like a game setting, whether or not to have the Great Game. Could let our autocue take the wheel. How are we doing on investment pool? We're keeping it drained. Which of course is good. I mean, we would prefer to have just more free money, but looks like the couple of building choices we made at the beginning have pulled people out of starvation situations. Shout out to us. Who owns this? So here's an interesting situation. We're getting a bunch of free throughput from their company. If another country's company invests in your nation, how's the math on that? Okay, so right here, the thing I'm thinking is, okay, generally speaking, they get to buy a building for like 30% of the cost, and then they get more than 30% of the benefit. But here they're barely even getting 30% of the benefit because they get effectively the weekly balance while the wages stimulate our economy. But if they're giving us 20% more throughput on the building that we already have there, well, first of all, it's barely worth it for them to buy this building because so much of the money is going to wages. But if they're boosting the throughput on the building that we already have when they make this purchase, I think that makes foreign investment considerably better. I mean, or granting foreign investment to countries that you don't have industries with. Which is interesting. We have to do math on this closer. I don't think you guys want to watch me like bust out the spreadsheet and look at the spreadsheet for 30 minutes over this type of topic. But it depends on construction costs and also like ratio of balance to wages, whether or not it's worth it to sell buildings off. But that is a bit of an interesting one. If we take a look here, what grinds my gears is in our India run, we can't do forced nationalization on our independence war. We have to do it on a separate war. They own 3% of our GDP and 19 building levels. How many building levels? I think we have a similar amount of building levels in their country. So it kind of ends up being a wash. The thing is we have some company building overseas in their country, and we would probably prefer not to be building overseas. Because when our logging camp builds over there, then it is providing them with throughput. So, yeah. The new starving mechanic. Can I build food anywhere to help, or is it best to build food production in the states that have the starving issue? Well, it has to do with the prices. If you really want to affect the prices of food in a particular place where people are food insecure, as a result of MAPI, you really want to build it there. Because you'll only be able to influence 85% of the price if you build it elsewhere, but you can influence 100% of the price if you do it the other way. But I also think you want to, import grain, just, generally speaking, this type of stuff. Now that the nationalized war goal is infamy cost is lower, is it maybe worth allowing investment to take it back later? Yes, I think this is probably the case, which is kind of interesting. You hate giving foreign investment because you feel like you lose so much from the dividends? Well, the thing is they have to buy the building from you. The break point of whether or not this is worth it changes depending on how much construction costs. And it changes, pretty dramatically. So, as you get later and later construction PMs, it gets more and more attractive to sell buildings to other people. But if you could just rake them all back for 7 infamy, then maybe it's worth... I mean, the flip side is you can also do stuff like take the home counties for 35 infamy. Whoop, we get a crazy noise. What's that? Oh, brother, what's that? You can, taking the home counties is probably really good, because if you think about it from the perspective of how many ownership buildings you're getting per infamy, this is, a really good one as well, especially if you let the game go later. Thank you, Sandsnare, for the cheers. Big nice, the 100 bits, the biddies. Thank you so very much. So, yeah, you could, the bit noise, always throws me off. I'm not used to it. So, if we were to nationalize versus France right now, we would only get, 20 or so buildings. It'd be better for us to just to take the home counties, but there's, maybe a break point where that makes sense. The thing that's, weird for me is, we actively don't want to produce any wood right now because we have a wood company, and we want the wood company to benefit from the construction. It's just, kind of a strange way of things being. My pleasure. I've been watching a lot of your Twitch and YouTube the last few weeks, and it's been helping you make the game make a lot more sense. I'm glad it's been helpful. How much reinvestment is home counties giving right now? I mean, this is a play pattern we've probably underutilized, so let's take a look at both the buildings. Their balance is 40k, and so if a third of this is going to reinvestment, which is not, a quarter is going to reinvestment. Right, because they don't have full capitalist ownership yet, so they're getting 11k. So, if you're looking at it the perspective of how much income you would immediately be getting from the ownership of the buildings, but that's also not including all the taxes you would be getting from the other things. Also, they have a ton of... This isn't just a bunch of, subsistence farms in here. This is actually a ton of buildings. 4k off of that, so 15, 16k total. Are we still on traditionalism? No, we're on laissez-faire. We got the market liberal boyo. We got the gentleman. We had the gentleman. He was a market liberal. Now he's dead. The truth hurts. We have to have the armed forces and government, or we could do it with the PB in order to try and pass this, but I think we're kind of generating... we're losing loyalists right now. Partially from having low authority. Alright, we're gonna use our one time now. One time has been activated for per capita taxation, so now we're gonna pass it. Can only do that once per stream though. How are we doing on pops in these places? Kind of okay. Coming on up though quite nicely. Can you do your runs without always going for meta places, play more realistic? Well, here's the rub. If I do that, people will get mad at me for not doing stuff that's meta. I can't please everyone. I can. I kind of split it a little bit. The EIC run is definitely not pushed. If you're talking about, like, going realistic, the EIC run, like, I'm pretty sure you're just supposed to get independence as, like, ASAP. So the run we currently have going on YouTube is definitely not optimized. Can the company build the related building if allowed? Can they buy those in the countries foreign investment is allowed? Do they get a discount? They can buy it. They don't get a discount, which is why, like, ideally, I actually really don't like the play patterns that are created around the company construction bonus at all, because why? We really don't want our wood company using money to build overseas because we want them to use money to construct so that we can benefit from the construction bonus. Similarly, we don't want our wood company to buy wood that we have constructed because if they buy wood that we have constructed, they don't benefit from the construction bonus. A huge portion of companies making your buildings way more efficient per construction is actually getting the construction bonus. So anytime you slot in a company, now you do not want to build the associated industry yourself actively, and that is a weird and kind of asinine play pattern. I don't like it. I think it's also really counterintuitive. I think it's really hard for a new player to realize that they're going to be hemorrhaging a ton of value like this. And also, if not building any of the industry causes the price to rise by a significant amount, then you should just build the industry regardless, maybe. So, like, there's an extra layer of complexity. I don't like it. You should privatize buildings, pretty much all buildings, the exception being buildings you don't want to downsize because there's going to be dramatic shifts in demand for it. And so the only one is kind of like armed industries. Maybe. So. Especially if you're like, yeah. If they're owned by the country, they can't downsize. So, specifically like artillery and arms industries and munitions. What are we researching right now? We are starting to hemorrhage loyalists. I think a big part of that is that we're in a really low legitimacy bracket because we're trying to pass this law. There's a bunch of really, really strong positive events on taxes, and we're not rolling any of them. You could also get the rural folk or the PB in to try and pass this law, but I think, irregulars. These might not have employed back up very well. I'll flick them around the other side. Add a couple of those there. I'm definitely liking that universities seem like almost worth building, or like that they're worth building. Looks like we have negative attitude with Austria now. They're antagonistic. We could rival them up. We could rival them up and go for war reps. Just seeing who's likely to support us right now. Russia's pretty even. We could also liberate Hungary. Let's figure out our queue, though. Well, we're gonna put in New Russia Limited. I think that makes it so that we want to start pushing tools in some spots. And then let's put them on auto expand as well. In the spots that we know we want to be expanding in. Plock, I don't know if we do. Moscow's probably okay to auto expand in. We do have the couple of universities there. Kharkov, we do, and we are. Samara, Orzawa, Kursk, Perm, Ural. These are places where we know we have a lot of mining potential. I was trying to slot in the steel company early as Brazil. The game was complaining that no steel available despite having 6 steel factories in Transvaal fully incorporated. Interesting. Were they owned nationally or privately? Maybe you can't mix and match. Also, how many days ago? Was this on release day or after? Because they seem to have hotfixed some things. From what I understand, I think they hotfixed your needing to own it. Or maybe they've hotfixed your needing to own it if you're on, like, laissez-faire. If you're on interventionism, I don't know what it is. Maybe that was the change. Pick up Selangor here for the interest. Should be fine without us. And then we will also, with Colombia, reduce their subject payments here. And we will use some of our Diplo to improve relations with them. Looks like we need a little bit more. How are we doing on the cohesion? We're maxed out. Cool, cool, cool. Food standardization is going to be really nice. That is also going to make it better for us to get vacuum canning earlier. Do we not have them pushing? Feels like he's asleep at the wheel. USA really running through these Native Americans, huh? GDP is looking kind of nice. Not like what it used to before. Is it worse now to slot in multiple companies for the same industry? Or is it better now? Not sure. Look at our market share on, where's Moscow? Still at 13. The thing is, the wood is so disgustingly efficient. Maybe this actually makes it so that we shouldn't slot in the logging companies normally. Can you give me a fast explain of how auto expand works? I don't use it a lot. If the building is profitable and fully employed and the cash reserves are full, then it will add one of the buildings to the auto queue. Generally speaking, it can be good to use the if you know ahead of time things that are going to be in really good spots for mappy reasons, things related to market access price impact. If you already know what's going to look particularly good, so for example, we have sulfur here, right? We see Cheetah has a really high sulfur potential. Now, is Cheetah up there? No, is it over here? It is over here. There's not a lot of arable land over there, so let's take a look at a different state. So we see that this state here has some sulfur potential. So we know that eventually we are going to want to have a bunch of sulfur. So we can put this on auto expand, right? And then we know that sulfur feeds into particular industries. And so we don't have to... One of the bad sides about auto expand is the criteria is such that it will not always be the most profitable building that gets put in, right? But even though we know it's not the most profitable building, it saves us a lot of headache. So we know that an input for paper mills is sulfur, so we know that in general, paper mills that get built where sulfur are gonna be more profitable. So what we could do is we could come in and we can put paper mill on auto expand as well. And so the companies will be able to fill their reserves much better if they're really profitable. So if this is really profitable, they will be able to auto expand faster than if they're not profitable. And so in this way, we can kind of save ourselves a little bit of headache and not need to worry about building paper, and it'll build up there alongside the sulfur building up there. There's a tough question about duplicate companies. They compete for market share. Well, I'm not sure exactly if they compete or if they would just fully saturate the industry. Like, if every new building was a company building, then that would actually be really good. I always do my fertilizer industry in Astrakhan as well. Yeah, we were going to show it with fertilizer, but we can't build the building yet. There will be a tooltip for the requirements. They're different, for example, for the railways. Yeah, they're different. The requirements different for the railways and also the bureaucratic buildings. Cash reserves has to be greater than 95%. Market access has to be good as well, and they have to be employed up. So these rules are such that you generally they won't auto expand really stupidly ever, but when they are auto expanding, they won't necessarily be the most profitable building that you could have possibly built ever. But in a lot of the places where we're building tools, for example, we are putting them where we already have iron. So the iron inputs will keep the tool prices higher than the rest of the market, generally speaking. And also, we will probably... Well, currently we don't have iron frame tools. But if we put steel here, the iron and the coal will feed into the steel, which feeds into the tools, which feed in the iron and coal. And so it'll create a nice little, closed loop. So generally speaking, putting an auto expand where you have coal and iron... and that on all of coal, iron, tools, and steel will generally be good. Or it'll be good but not optimal. Optimal would be super hyper sweating every little construction, but we're not going to do that. that should be all they wrote for these guys. I mean, we could think about going for Austria here. I guess going for Austria when they are in the middle of a war makes more sense. We could rival them up, liberate, and... So let's take a little bit of a save and see what this looks like. We're not used to trying to enforce this metagame where we, like, war rep everyone. And this is actually kind of, like... So, before, you would actively not want to drop an Austria, for example, below great power, because then, now they can't bankroll you. But, with the bankroll meta kind of being dead, and I think it's kind of more about the war reps meta, or more of a standardish looking meta, it makes more sense now to go for something like liberate Hungary, right? And then who will we maybe be able to sway onto our side? We will maybe be able to sway Prussia, probably for German leadership, and we will have to fight two Sicilies, and probably Tuscany, and probably Modena, and probably Parma. Yikes! But if Great Britain's a little bit more likely on our side, so we could see how this will shake out. It's also a little bit scary, but. And then let's rival them. Which means that we get a little bit more Diplo. So we can improve relations with a couple of adjacent people. And then we don't care if the humiliation gets enforced on, but we do want to make sure that we get the war reparations. And then let's put some guys on the front. I think we will want this guy on pillage. Let's put this guy on defense. Let's do some of that. Who else can we sway? Is the UK maybe swayable? Bulgaria is swayable. Well, Bulgaria wants like a province. We would be happy to do that. Wait, where's Prussia in this? Did Prussia just not have an interest? I mean, I guess we could try to do it without them. Dude's playing on wrecked bad countries. This dude playing on wrecked bad countries. Is this tough this time around? Yeah, qualifications and other reasons. I tried Persia Run. Everything's so slow. Cranking taxes. Yeah, you can't crank taxes anymore. No bankrolls. Yeah, no market liberal. Everything's Jover. For mapping purposes, do you know how resources are in a state distributed? Like, are you, like if you're using 100 coal locally, but only produce 50, how does that amount get spread between buildings in a state? You don't have to worry about that. It just affects price. It affects price for all of them. Prestige maxing to lower everyone to minor power. That too, because now you would like before you would like want to keep everyone as a GP. And now it's, like, way different. Liberate Wargles indirectly shows it for capital interest, even when it starts outside of there. But I'm pretty sure... I mean, we could start the war with a different Wargle, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I mean, we want to be able to get Prussia in on this. Because we also want to control kind of Prussia's truce with Austria and pull Prussia in to fight Austria repeatedly. So let's reload. We just open with a humiliate war goal instead. Since you can't affect IG Cloud directly anymore, it's a lot tougher to get movements you want, I feel like. You can affect Cloud by hiring generals and promoting generals and admirals. Is there any trick to get the market liberal from corn laws in charge? You promote him to government. I have no idea how to get the 10% pressure that's required. Whatever political movement he's agitating for, promote that movement. So our market liberal guy was initially supporting the liberal movement, so we just promoted that movement until it was affecting the gentry assembly. Alright, so we'll open up with a humiliate on Austria instead here, which we need to rival them first to do. Humiliate. Now Prussia is going to be more likely to... Well, Prussia's actually going to be able to join in. And then... I do think we really want to liberate specifically Hungary, so we'll put that in. And we'll try and see if we can sway a couple people. And then we put this guy on defend front, mobilize, put him on the front. Hoorah. Let's do this guy, and then this guy. And then the navies, let's recall them. As well. How much less do we care about staying under 25 infamy in general? Considerably less. I still, stylistically, I like to do it, but the big reason to do it before was because the difference between getting a bankroll and not getting a bankroll was so freaking enormous. And it would ruin chances you would get later to get a bankroll, and now that's not really... You don't really worry too much about your downstream bankrolls that much. And so... I think going over 25 is kind of fine. I think you don't want to hang out there for a variety of reasons, but if there's an opportunity... you shouldn't forego the opportunity just because it's going to bring you over a certain breakpoint. How much are we actually making? This plus this. Looks like we're losing about 20k. Super manageable. And now... Transfer subjects. Who do you want? Chile? Nah. Sway him with German leadership. Some stout German leadership. And, I think we're just gonna... These guys will auto-decay out, is the thing. If we don't put any war goals on them. We kind of like getting war reps, though. They also might just back down to this. That'd be kind of insane, back down, but... They're a little bit occupied right now, but... Yeah, I think they just get clapped here super hard. Super kawaii. It's crazy we're still making money. Our budget's actually just like popping off super hard. We'll incorporate a couple more states here. We could maybe be a little bit more precise about which ones of these are going to be best, but... Alright, so now we have the choice. And it's, do we want New Russia Limited or Little Popco? Well, we were preparing to do New Russia Limited, so let's do this. And it looks like it's going to appear in Kharkov, which is kind of what we want anyways. So now we're going to come in and we're going to stop auto-expanding on the mines that are associated with what we have. A new Russia Limited will come about. I think that I don't mind us auto-expanding on the steel. Steel's just generally not as efficient. We are auto-expanding on steel in some spots. But so far things are going very smoothly here, with kind of us trying to play this new meta. Well, we would actually be able to get our thing up and going. Railways are going to be needed in the capital. Logging camp in North Rhine. No. What a world, what a world. Another interesting thing is the higher proportion of companies, or the higher proportion of stuff that has foreign ownership in your country, the better it is to go bankrupt, which is kind of an interesting thing we realized with the bankruptcy video. We're gonna go for Selangor. Maybe we can pull them in diplomatically. Nice. I don't know how long these guys have been in Bulgaria, but we might be able to subjugate them soon here. How's graduated taxation? Ooh, boo-boo. How's graduated taxation versus per capita? Well, graduated is much more progressive, and I think will allow you to increase taxes better. So I think that's going to be just generally better. But do we want to give it extra? No, probably not. But I think that per capita, as a result of the labor movement, and this is something we still have a small sample size on, but as a result of that appearing and being something that you can use to pass prop tax relatively easier, as well as the trade unions seem to demarginalize much easier now, I think going per capita taxation is actually pretty good, just because I think it allows you to probably run high taxes a little bit easier, or very high taxes a little bit easier, and because you're not going to be kicking the peasants in the nuts. This law, land-based taxation, really kicks the peasant in the nuts because it has a flat tax on people who are in rural areas. So, yeah. Will you promise me the next DLC is Austria? No. Although I think a German DLC would make sense, I think it's also fairly likely they do China or Japan. China and Japan are the two most played countries, like, categorically. So, yeah. Wonder why I couldn't create the generic iron company. Bet I played pre-hotfix. Pre-hotfix would make sense. Pre-hotfix would make sense. I think we're not going to conscript unless it looks like we have to. I think with Prussia in here, it doesn't really look like we have to. So... we actually have a war goal on 2 Sicilies, so we'll try and do this. And then we'll try and establish a second front. Does this guy have offensive planner? He does not. We'll try and establish a second front here. With that gentleman. We did activate our 1 time on per capita, so we will be getting that. It's not going to send us to a new bracket, so... It doesn't look like they have a lot defending. We maybe need to be all defend first. Or we maybe need to actually conscript up. Looks like we have some conscripts assigned already. To which battalion, I don't know. Oh, to this one. We could assign this battalion, but that just seems like... Well, if we assign some split ones, then they'll also pull from there as well. So if we assign a little bit, then we'll be able to activate both. Yeah, because they will auto activate some of these. It won't be a lot, but maybe enough to get kind of the ball rolling here a little bit better. Also the fact that we have an additional front and they're going to have to either split off or suffer. That's good. Looks like we're getting in there too as well. So this war should be pretty comfortable. Let's actually focus on our queue a little bit here. We have to really try and care about qualifications. Is one thing we're not used to though. I mean, I know what we want, which is to get the unis up to level... Alright, they're employed up. Alright, so let's just do this. We do want a level 20 uni, which is building to economies of scale. We just were slowly adding it because it wasn't employing up very well. But once it's employed up, then we'll probably expand in the capital quite a bit. What's the icon next to rapid advance? That's a new one, which is just showing that this is a unique thing that is given because of a character trait, or well, that's not given because of a character trait, that's given because your mobilization thing, but they all say because of a character trait. It just means that it's special. What do you think about performance? I think it's slightly better. I think it's roughly the same. Supposedly, according to the devs, it's particularly better in the late game, so we might not have a big enough sample size on when it is supposed to be better. However, on Happy Thursday, Sunday. Big nice. The Russian army is a mess. Wish I had a button to assign the battalions to an army in the respective HQ. There is a button. So this will set them to a new HQ. Or we'll give them a new home HQ. You could also, for the specific war, reassign with this button. But the other one will give them a new home HQ. That is the strategic objective. Formosa Treaty Port. Oh, baby. It's kind of neat that we forced Qing to win the Opium War by giving... I don't know if this is good or bad, but we gave Britain a GIMP treaty port by releasing Yue while we gave them the treaty port, which also gave them a 5-year truce, which makes it so that they just win the Opium War. I don't know, but then there's not going to be as big a malice on Qing, but it's cute that the UK is going for this now. Here, I think that we still have a truce, so we can't side. Can't side with Great Qing. Or we can, actually. We can side with Great Qing, not against it. I don't think we want a defensive pact. We would want an alliance, maybe. We're not planning on getting attacked, so... We have pretty good relations with France and Prussia. I think just actually... You know what I really like is... If the bankroll meta is dead and you want to do this humiliate meta, this humiliate war reps meta, it's actually pretty neat because this actually makes you want to have some friends and some enemies, which definitely did not feel like the case before. We'll add some paper in Kharkov as well, because we're starting to have quite a bit of this stuff, and I do think we are doing manufacturing decree there. We're putting it on auto expand because we know there's going to be a lot of demand. Have we played Vic 2? No, we have not. Why wouldn't you just build out a level 1 of Uni in every state and level 10 for the general entry in the capital? So, if we take a look here, let's take a look at the university, because it's easier to explain. When you increase throughput, you increase the input goods and the total output by a very large margin, or by whatever the throughput is, in this case 8%. So we would increase the paper and the innovation. Also, I don't know if qualifications are subject. I think they are to the throughput, but I'm not 100% sure. I can't remember. But the idea is almost all of the cost of university specifically, or like in this case, if you take a look at like 20%, is actually in the wages. When you increase throughput, you don't increase wages. And so universities that are built up to economies of scale are way more efficient, like per dollar per innovation. And so that's why we wanted to build a really high one. I think China winning the Opium Wars is mostly bad. The only upside is that you can protectorate China later without blowing them up. It's a kind of nice upside. It might be the case that if you are a GP start, you want Great Britain to lose the Opium Wars. And if you're not a GP start, you want to be able to fight China again in 5 years, so you want the UK to win the Opium War. If you're like a middling power start, it might be in a specific band. But yeah, I was kind of... Intuitively, that seems... that was my first thought, but... Which is why I'm really not sure, but it's cute that there's this interaction as well. All troops he got to go to the army respectively in the HQ. The troop was built. I'm the control freak. Yeah. Well, that's a little bit of a different thing. Hey, journalists, people say this patch broke migration. I keep getting migrants from everywhere as the US. That's working as designed. If you don't like it, change to migration controls. Then only accepted pops will come. Or close the borders, even better. Depends what you mean by broken, though, I guess. The US gets a lot of migrants. The US is probably a lot stronger on this patch. Although you don't, like, necessarily want the migrants, like, right away. And I actually think that maybe it causes a bit of turmoil for the USA, so... somewhat hard to say. Like, we had more turmoil problems on the USA, but we were also trying to run max taxes, so there's that. Cohesion, please. This is because Peru, Colombia don't like us. How are we doing on this landing? It looks like we're getting in slowly. So it just looks like we're slowly winning this war. Not like this. I think we're going to... Do we have a... No, we don't have a boat. We don't have a thing that gives a boat bonus. I think we're already auto-expanding this. I think auto-expanding fish is going to be a good one, just generally. Yeah, I think we're already auto-expanding it. We just added a couple more levels. But we're used to having the auto-expand on wood to kind of keep everything going for us, and now we don't have that. Trying to keep the auto queue going, like, Or we're trying to have an automatic queue to keep the queue filled. Mainly because the pace of play is like a little bit more comfortable if we're really aggressive with having a lot of auto expands. But we're used to just auto expanding wood. And because the company makes us not want to do this, maybe having a wood company is just practically speaking just too annoying. Weekly balance plus 5k. Aggregation controls medium, completely obvious, good, key good in 1.8. What's the best citizenship law for a country like Sweden? I'm super uncertain what the best citizenship law is. If I were to guess, the best citizenship law in most cases is going to be cultural exclusion, but I'm not 100% sure. OPP was saying that pops shouldn't migrate to violent hostility, but that's the rub. When they first get there, they suffer a huge malice. Almost everyone is violent hostility when they first arrive, right? Or not? That's not true. If you have discrimination in general, they will arrive to violent hostility. I think historically, like, that's what people in the U.S. like kind of faced to some extent. I mean, look, a bunch of Chinese people came to the U.S. and they were super discriminated against, like, in terms of historical basis. Right? Like, in the 1800s, let's see if we can look that up. Okay, 3 major waves of Chinese immigration to the United States beginning in the 19th century, so this is within the time frame of the game. Gold Rush in the 1850s, Central Pacific Railroad 1860s. They also worked as laborers, they suffer racial discrimination, etc. What kind of numbers are we looking at? So first wave here. Around 1815. Okay, that's not a lot of immigrants. In 1850 and 20,000 in 1852. This is starting to get up there. 2001 day. By 1852, there were 25,000, over 300,000 by 1880. A tenth of the Californian population, mostly from the 6 districts of Canton. So, like, I don't know. There's, like, it looks like, Qing was not allowing them to leave. Shout out to how the game works. But I think there's, like, a basis for people arriving and just being super discriminated against. OPB generally kind of probably knows historical and flavor stuff better than me, though. I don't know if I agree with that one specifically. The little minigame of... maybe they should be migrate less, but there's no granularity there. The little minigame of figuring out what combination of religion and citizenship law plus homeland bonus to get the pops you are using right above the right thresholds has been okay gameplay so far. Yeah, it's just, I think for us, like, we want the Forbidden City. We're gonna want the Forbidden City in a lot of runs. I think in order to get that to the Forbidden City to employ up, you're probably gonna have to go cultural exclusion a lot. And so... because cultural exclusion is the one that has the kind of critical break point in that cultural exclusion Pops on violent erasure or cultural erasure can now employ in government buildings. Open prejudice. All the other more discriminatory ones require you to be at least open prejudice. Super dependent on religion, -20 from wrong religion. You can't stack with high discrimination. Yeah, you can if you can convert them, but one of the problems is conversion is hard. Because you have to seed some number of the pop into the place. We can't convert people to our religion in, like, if we could convert people over here, we would be able to employ up, I think, at the Forbidden City, right? Well, actually, if we could get pops there that are Russian, we would definitely be able to employ up, so that would kind of fix the problem. And so it might be the case that the really heavy population countries, it's much more attractive for them to go more discriminatory, but we just have this base 20 plus the 25, right? Plus the base 10, so that's 65. So the Chinese pops that convert would get up to 65 as their they would get up to 65 as their acceptance, which is enough to employ up in the buildings because they would be in that rank. So getting migrants from everywhere, my chart is getting unrecognizable in some states. I'm worried performance because of that. Yeah, I mean, they did some things to help with performance. The 325 cultural community is literally just like Vic 3. It's not a lot. There's a little and a lot. All that's a little. We maybe want to consider conscripting up more. And this is very importantly going to dramatically increase the number of conscripts we have in this army. So even though we're adding much more than 9 conscripts here, we're adding like 50 or 60 that will actually recruit up. The people that are discriminated against can then cause citizenship law change. Yep. Tell me a non-European who didn't suffer discrimination in the USA. Even the Irish and Italians suffered. Yeah, but Irish and Italians, to the original point that OPB was making, under the system, Irish and Italians would not be migrating into violent hostility. But I think that honestly, like, man, the Irish and the Italians really had some problems in terms of how they were treated in the U.S. So, like, them arriving to violent hostility, or, well, I guess maybe cultural erasure makes more sense. Yeah. I've not been able to get off religion in your Russia game, so good luck getting Forbidden City employed. You're in 1899. Well, I mean, we got like 50 years to try and figure that out. Relatively speaking. If you take Treaty Port in Beijing earlier, before you take the Forbidden City with Heavenly Kingdom events, do some conversion there. You can use that to seed it. That's interesting. Everyone says France is the strongest, but personally I find Russia to be stronger and more fun as well. I mean, I think Great Britain's the strongest and Prussia's probably second. Irish and Italians aren't white? Wait, what? If you concede it, racial segregation, homeland, racial segregation 10, homeland 10 gets you to the bottom to be convertible, and then, yeah, but you can't convert pops with whom you don't share a heritage trait. Then freedom conscious, 20 from being converted gets you, oh, converted, yeah, converted faith. Did we enforce on 2 Sicilies there? Is that what that was? Yeah. They also dramatically changed how much war exhaustion you get, it seems. I know they changed it so casualties, you care more if pops of your highly accepted pops are dying than if not very accepted pops are dying. Irish and Italians were discriminated because they were Catholic? Yeah, but there's a weird sort of thing where, like, specifically, like, the discrimination that Catholics and Protestants had towards each other was sometimes, or often, a lot stronger than discrimination they would have towards, like, groups that are completely not Abrahamic religions. You know what I mean? Which is, like, why discrimination is weird sometimes. Like, the internal strife between Catholics and Protestants is, like, historically, there have been times where it's, like, more significant than, like, Catholics against Buddhists or something like this. We're looking to really spread these out because we know they will have a hard time employing up. But once we get all these employed up, we should be able to incorporate more stuff. We're also really popping off on the money. Saratov, I think, does have a bunch of iron. A little bit. Samara has iron, right? Not a lot. They got some of the other stuff, though. They're gonna build explosives. Construction won't be terrible in Samara in the long term. Actually, let's maybe look at where we have a lot of peasants. Tula, Tambov, Kiev. Kiev has iron, so let's add some there as well. I think that's more than enough extra construction here. But we could get Kiev going in terms of some of this stuff as well. Oh, we don't want to. That's right. We'll get the other stuff going. The adjacent industries. We want our companies to try and figure that out. It's not politics, it's science. You can't be Catholic and white at the same time. I'm less familiar with this science. If there are miscellaneous +5 acceptance modifiers, you could get reliable, get served up. State atheism gives 15 and converse pops when you enact it. Yeah, state atheism maybe has some consistency, like, that would be good. Russia-Prussia fellowship. Sure, actually. This will make us less vulnerable if someone is going to deck us. The only group we're kind of afraid of is, the UK. We're a little bit scared of. But having the lobby opportunity to push through, we will... The Orthodox Church super loves us right now. Problem is we can't make any legitimate government with the I'm just thinking if, well, the Orthodox Church is super happy with us. This is a little bit of a better timing window for us to go for some things. And per capita looks like it's just going really poorly anyways. Where's our success coming from? Our movements here? Yeah. We'll be able to do something like this, and then... To be fair, we could go for racial segregation or cultural exclusion right now pretty comfortably as well. Or maybe we need to let the things readjust. What happened to that being easy? What happened to our 10% there on the predictor? Interest groups just decided they didn't care anymore. The truth hurts. Alright, well, let's try and do cultural exclusion here at least. And immediately, yeah, the predictor not being as reliable is kind of a little bit rough, but... Standard of living in one province is not going to be worth it, even though... At least Cariella is not, I'm not even sure if it's that good a province. Having really big morale problems with these guys? Yeah. Do we not have... I can't remember if we have opium production. If we do, then... It's gonna make everything a lot more expensive, but... The question is are we gonna get more from a bankroll than we have spent in this war? I don't think the answer is yes. So I think maybe just chilling out is gonna be better than repeatedly war repping people. Let's just see how much we've spent in the war so far. We've spent around 1.25 million. What are the current plans for the mandate? We're going food 3, I think. Well, actually, vassalization 3 is a little bit attractive, so we can generate mandate faster, but I think the +1 SOL is just going to be really good. Because I think we will go to generating loyalists on our current tax thing instead of slowly losing them, and so now we will be like comfortably running high taxes off of that. It is a little bit attractive for us to go vassalization 3 so we could have more cohesion. Then we're going to look to go into colonial offices next, after this. The front gets spagooted. It's time to lasagna. You ever reach a critical point in your life where you know everything's dramatically going to change and the world will change forever? This is that. So, better a heathen than a heretic, basically. What are you getting from Austria? Mainly just releasing Hungary, but also war reps. I think that the war reps aren't going to cover the cost of the war. Our power block principal tier is still the same. Food standardization is better. I think food standardization is better, but the most critical thing is that I think food standardization was good before. I think food standardization is better now. I think the +1, I think base... I think anything that increases standard of living by a base amount, I think is considerably stronger given the new tax system. I think specifically food standardization also looks attractive on guys with a lot of subsistence farms, of which Russia's one. Also, if the economy in general is slowed down, you will be in subsistence farm mode for longer, which makes food standardization, again, a little bit more appealing. Once you, like, fully industrialize, it gets a little bit less appealing. But I think the biggest change is that, I think external trade now kind of sucks.
In a world where you're wanting to declare rivals and go for war reps and this type of stuff, posture, hydration, have you used your point cover cooldown? If you aren't using it, you're losing it. Appoint governor? You mean promote to... Is that a new mechanic? Appoint governor? Are you talking in, like on our subjects? Like the sub-overlord interaction? Doesn't this make them upset? I honestly haven't experienced with that very much at all. How do you get the Russian Baltic puppet to join the North German Federation? The AI seems to manage it somehow. I mean, I think they have to be independent. And other than that, like how you would otherwise normally do it. As the SOL modifier work, do props get free money? No, so there's two things that go on. There's wealth and SOL. Wealth level has to do with your buy basket and this type of stuff. And then wealth level is modified by any SOL modifiers. So there's the underlying wealth level that has to do with your buy basket, and if you have an excess in your buy basket, you'll go up in wealth level. If you have a deficit, you'll go down. But then there is like SOL, which is just a different abstraction. So when you get when we get, for example, this food standardization 3, which gives us +1 standard living, that's not going to actually, like, for example, increase our education access on private schools, which give wealth-based education access, because the two are distinct. But wealth is like a baseline for SOL, and then any modifiers you have to SOL are applied on top of it. Very often, when talking about wealth, I will accidentally use SOL, though, because the two are very closely related, so it's a little bit rough. What's your advice on when to subsidize and when not to? Just basically never subsidize. Appoint a governor on your Republican vassals for free liberty desire reduction. Is it free? I mean, we could take a look, but I don't think any of them are Republican. The truth hurts, or they're not low enough autonomy. Rather, actually. Does it just give this? Alright. That's fair. We've really underutilized that character interaction, but... It's like we're having some difficulty employing. These guys are starting to get a bit more market share. Let's take a look at Paul Allen's market share. So we have 173 total logging camps, although this isn't counting overseas ones, so it's not a perfect comparison. We're still on 13 here. So we're under 10%. And we've had this company for like a decade now. They might still have a little bit too much difficulty acquiring market share. I don't really know. Are we going to just occupy all of Hungary? Occupying all of Hungary works for these. German leadership just requires one state. Same with humiliating war reps, so this works. Thieves and liars. Hell yeah, brother. Cultural exclusion will be nice because it'll also give a lot more political power to, like, the Han and Chinese and this type of thing. Really allow it to juice up movements. We can't build there because we don't have railroads yet. Oh, I think there was a boop boop we forgot to read. And now it's been... Okay, now. Freak of 4364, thank you for the follow. Big nice. I don't know if the building a power block there is really very good, but it's going to help keep our construction queue kind of going. It's probably a little bit of a leak. It's probably a little too early for that. We're going to look where we have tax problems, and then we're going to add additional ones of these here. Just where we have the qualifications tick, and only where we have the qualifications tick. And where we have a deficit, so there's really not a lot of government admins, but here we are. Let's go. Taking Austria would also just work. Looks like that might happen in a sec here. Split occupation. It's like Germany. How much time were we going to spend trying to pass this law? Quite a while, because we were under 50%. What would be the reason for a country to change their laws if there aren't groups pushing for it? What would be the reason for a country? I don't know if you like the law better. You need this migration into this discriminating country to enforce the change. I enjoy your streams. Thank you for streaming. You're very welcome. If you give them a local guide, they like it. If you give them one with your culture, they hate it. Yeah. I thought it was just they kind of hate it. Alright, Prussia's out. Prussia being out, we kind of wanted them to win German leadership. And with Prussia being out, we actually do want to raise up a little bit more conscripts, I think. Not exactly what we wanted. Let's find these guys. Yep. And also land back here. Because I think we get slowly pushed out here. Well, it's gonna be grim if we, this war is actually, maybe we need to focus up a little bit. Okay. They're not gonna get humiliated on us very easily. That's gonna change very significantly the amount of troops that we have involved here. I think we're gonna move this 53 stack onto this side. And now, yeah. You a traditionalist, gross. Try and stay out ahead a little bit on that. But this should give us the war pretty quickly. Let's actually add another guy on offense. We We just have to hold over here. We'll just fully scrape the bottom of the barrel here. My first English is not language. What does pivot of empire mean? I don't know exactly what it's referring to be honest. The new Russia Limited is getting super high wages too. For the shopkeepers and the clerks. The IG approval's probably better, to be honest. It might be. I only get the proletarian movement for trade unions, not communist, socialist, or anarcho. Does anyone know what to do with that? You probably have to... Sorry, you probably have to research relevant technologies, but also if you have one, it might be harder to spawn another, which can actually give you variance in games maybe, so that's kind of a neat thing if that's the case. Alright, so it's looking like we're getting our push on. Push it, push it, push it. Just the question is, can we push this to the right before they push this to the left? We kind of care what this is. Can we get from anyone? No, we can't get military assistance from anyone. Tragic. These 47 guys refuse to die. Oh, is this like the bug from freaking... Okay. There was a bug on release where it could get brought down to one soldier and the one soldier would never die. Got spagooted friends, comrades, Romans. I don't know how they got into that pocket. Let's try something like this. They specifically have problems with infrastructure. And do we have research? Our empiricism is not spreading to us, so we don't actually actively need to research this. I think I do like canneries into this a little bit. Why don't we do this? How about the mines give us the ability to build fertilizer? A freak 4364. Thank you for the follow. Big nice. Sorry, I'm like kind of trying to focus on this war a little bit. Ottomans feel roughless patch. Yeah, the discrimination really wrecks them. How do you subscribe with Prime? I don't know. Exactly. I probably should know so I could explain it to people and be like, subscribing with Prime is free, except it takes clicks and you have to pay for Prime. The truth hurts. Companies' construction proportional to their investment, and so they can't increase the incredibly efficient wood company at the start of the game. It's kind of proportional to their reinvestment, so it's really hard for it seems like it takes a while for them to get market share. I don't really know yet how strong or weak I think they are. It's kind of rough. Rushtov could probably auto expand this. And then we're gonna need more sulfur soon. Why don't we do this? And then we have a company for coal. We don't have a company for lead. I said domestic, my friend. Ural and Ufa. So let's put glassworks in these places as well. Auto expanding. And then, do we have any unemployment? We do in Beijing and Nantong and Warzawa. So places where we have unemployment, we will auto expand out some of that. Then I think Nizhny Novgorod. Something like that. And our queue is a-going. Maybe we're just supposed to push into their strong army with our strong army rather than trying to race them. Because when we lose an offensive battle, it slows us down a lot because we give up ground. Because we're inside their territory. The front's about to spaghetti once this guy gets some more territory, so... We could definitely put these guys on offense. Rapid advance. Probably should have checked ideology. Yeah, they're pushing back slowly. This is such a shit show. We should have just added a lot more of these conscripts when Prussia was still in the war. It would have been a lot easier. I heard with the new update, New World is just drowning in migrants because discrimination no longer affects migration. Is that true? Yes. Play pattern I discovered last week, really come to hate, is fishing for anti-overlord lobbies at game start. You don't have to do it if you don't want to, but yeah. This allows American territories probably to be a lot easier. Anyone else have a problem with making industrialists influential? Just pass wealth voting, bro. As Ottomans should be. Ottomans had historic struggles, yeah. This is how you fight attrition wars? Yeah, I mean, they're gonna bankrupt before we do as well, so maybe we're just waiting on their bankruptcy. I'm pretty sure they're gonna bankrupt before us. I think we have a bigger economy. I mean, this conscript level is, like, coming up really high. Alright, so our front is spagooted. I think we're gonna move this guy to that front. Alright, perfect. He's moving to the front we kind of wanted to put him on. And actually just split these guys up in a way that makes it so that we have an advantage on both sides. Hopefully they don't stranger danger that side there. Empiricism, I believe this gives us... Does this not give us PM? No, it's dialectics. Okay, but that's also going to help out quite a bit with the wealth education access, because we're going to get education access from wealth, so hopefully that helps out with qualifications quite a bit. Oh, I didn't even notice Selangor back down, but that makes sense. These guys get spaghettied. Are these guys just sitting at the HQ? No, they're not. They're just visually... Is anyone not participating? Everyone has to participate. Okay. Nobody's not participating. These guys are pushing. Fantastic. We can get either this or that. Both is fine. Either is fine. Looks like cultural exclusion is going to come through pretty quick. I didn't even realize we were passing it that fast. These guys do /are pushing. Thinking of moving some troops to the other side. I really hate how this guy's just hanging out in the middle and it looks like he's not on either front. I think we're gonna... Experienced artillery commander. I think we're gonna try and clean this up. This war has gotten out of hand. Out of sight, out of pocket, out of mind. It's gonna be really nice getting all these levels of Beijing employed up. You have an overall goal for the run? We do not. Sonomo, thank you so very much for the 2 months prime. Big loud car, big nice. What's the best or least optimal way army and fleet ratio? So army, the really short version is 50-50 arty. Infantry is kind of the way to go. The longer answer is that you kind of want to use cavalry sometimes for various reasons because they have more advancement speed. But just for combat power, 50-50 arty and infantry. Cavalry, there's like 2 different types of cavalry like units you can make. You can either make like 50 or like half infantry and like 30% cavalry and 20% artillery for the best combat you can get and still use the rapid advance general interaction, and then you could do like 50-50 for faster advancement speed while suffering no penalty, and then you could do 100% cavalry, which you will never be able to get above 25% org, but if there's literally no one opposing you, like all mono cavalry is better, but you probably just want a 3-stack because you don't want to fight anyways and you're just looking to abuse landings. Level market share seems extremely polarized, like my New Russia Limited company has 500 buildings while the rest are under 40. Yeah, also like being able to slot it in at the start of the run is so much different than being able to slot it in like halfway in the run. So like your later company slots, I think that chances are you slot more for the bonus. Can you still implode India? Yeah, but you have to do it without unpausing now. They tried to nerf it, but they failed. Now they rest. Just did a Russia game that ended in 1836 with 1.7 billion GDP. That's incredible. You grew the GDP by over 1 billion in 1 year. Why aren't they taking down? Because we don't control all of Hungary or their capital. The truth hurts. We're getting there, though. The fact that Austria is holding it is impressive. I'd expect them to fold quicker. It really hurts that we are conscripting up infantry rather than cannons. I asked you about assimilation yesterday, looked at it myself, confused about Homeland and the current version of the devlog. It said Homeland slows it down. Tooltip says pops won't assimilate. I think the old ways they won't assimilate, they maybe just didn't update the tooltip. I don't really know. You could try to take a look and see if they're assimilating. I think there's some UI that shows whether or not they're assimilating. And you just try and see if they're assimilating even if it's the tooltip's lying. I don't know where the tooltip is though. These guys wouldn't assimilate. North German might. I forget where it says where they're assimilating. What's the best way to speed up assimilation, and what culture law is best for assimilation? Well, definitely not multiculturalism, because your pops won't assimilate if they're too accepted. They need to be somewhat discriminated against in order to assimilate. I mean, I guess you want public schools, you want assimilation modifiers to some extent. I'm looking for the really tall wood place. Is it Tula? Yeah, it is Tula. Hawk Tula. We're gonna auto-expand furniture there. So now it's weird because I feel like I'm just building a bunch of, or I'm like super incentivized to build consumer goods, and I kind of freaking hate it. But like, let's take a look at it. Is this, none of these are company. We're trying to lean into them actually giving the bonus, but it's rough. Is this partially occupied at least? Please say it is. Alright. I think this war is... I think the war requires no more micro. I think we're in a position where we're just going to win it. But, how expensive has this war been for us? Like 4.5 million. There's no way we get 4.5 million from the war reps. So, like, this war's probably not been worth it. So it's probably, the metagame's probably humiliate war reps Russia specifically, rather than trying to do everyone. There's a new dual heritage Turtle Island route now. It's pretty much dev intended. Russian-American company gets DEI style event that can make you expect, make Russian plus whatever. Seems quite easy too. Year one, you make Russia conquer the Mexican Pacific for you. Oh, interesting. I mean, I think Turtle Island is just, like, not playing the game anymore. You're just doing something else. I quite dislike companies now. Yeah, I prefer the 1.7 implementation. I don't like... I think the gameplay patterns that are created with this are, like, counterintuitive and not fun. Like, it's such that, like, here, let's... Since we're auto-expanding cotton here, we should auto-expand this here. We slot in companies so we can specialize in these industries, and then the next step for us, in order to not like dilute their market share and to increase their profitability, is to proceed to not build any of those industries ourselves. I really don't like it, and I think it actually might even be correct to slot in consumer good companies. That way you can actually spend your construction on the good industries. And we're seeing them here not quite acquire the amount of market share we would have liked. Maybe we just needed more time. I mean, this has acquired 3 levels in total. 2 overseas, though. The overseas levels we kind of don't like. Because the overseas levels, in particular, overseas levels are bad. Because they're giving away throughput to the enemy. Aiding and abetting. But we're trying to experiment with some of that stuff as well, so to be fair, they're giving us free throughput. Yeah, the plate pattern where it's like effectively giving free throughput is like actually just like crazy too. New Russia Limited is giving free throughput here, which is going to encourage them to build here, and then eat and gobble up our throughput. So yeah, can we take a look at the laws you have right now? Well, we just added one to the mix. Cultural exclusion. Here are current laws. I think we're gonna try and go census suffrage sometime soon, if we can. Doesn't look like we can just yet. Probably do the landed voting thing. Could go for wealth voting. Don't hate it. The Gentry Assembly gets pretty upset at that, though. We can do landed voting into wealth voting. And this is just a super comfortable law pass. So I think we'll do that. We're getting resisted. They're resisting arrest. Chat. No. Stop resisting. France is going for Siam. We don't even have bankrolling yet. Montenegro maybe comes, maybe they don't. Not sure. Super. And we have another mandate. Kind of tempted to do this for the additional cohesion. I think we're going to go colonial offices, though. Oh, is this a problem with... yeah. No, it is growing. Alright. How many casualties have there been? 1 million Russians, like 1.3 million Austrians. This is just super not worth. I mean, it's gonna change the texture of things. Maybe the fact that we're gonna get Hungary eventually is gonna make it worth, but. Yeah. Oh, there we go. We're starting to... they're just exhausted. It looks like we're gonna get, like, kind of both at the same time here. These modifiers have actually just been kind of annoying. They're also gonna bankrupt before we do. I think that's it for Hungary. Yep, so they should tick down now. Thank God. White peace, my guy. I hate that you can't refuse a peace deal. It's still been the case for forever. I want Paradox to add a law below multiculturalism, name it wokeism, such as primary culture starts getting discriminated. The fuck? Holland culture start work? Yeah, they should. No, they won't, because they're still just too discriminated against because of religion. They won't start. Won't start starting. Wanting. They won't employ up. The problem is they have minus 25 because we're on state religion. So the base acceptance is plus 20. And they get up to plus 30 because they're in a homeland, but then they get minus 25. So, yikes. However, they will be in a better bracket than they were before. Because I think on national supremacy they weren't even in the 20 or plus bracket. So... we forgot to check exactly how much money we were earning. But with 10k war reps, and this will get paid out, let's call it 50 weeks, 10,000 times 50, 50,000, 500,000, 2.5 million. We forgot to check how much the war's... Let's check how much the war's costing, because I actually want to know. But they'll pay out a total of around 2.5 million. Assuming they don't go through calamity, which they might, like, they can end up revving, which seems not unlikely as a result of the war. So, UK seems less likely to declare opium war. It doesn't seem to go for opium wars. If they had negative relations with Russia, you could just start the thing yourself. Feels like this update made backwater nations amazing and modernized nations worse. Wait, what? The qualifications issue is pretty significant. Alright, so this war has cost us... Yeah. Like, we're gonna recoup, like, a third. What it cost us. Friends, Romans, countrymen. I don't know what we feel about how we feel about this. It is nice having those humiliates down, though. I think we could also get our truce with the Qing is up. That is. Mexico's sides with Venezuela. Brazil's sides with Venezuela. What are y'all doing? I don't know if we even dislike giving Spain investment rights. I think we're trying to gain leverage on them, and that actually hurts that, but... Guess we're gonna bring that guy over there. Ah, we kind of wanted California there. Well, it's not going to be primary, and they still have a decent chance of backing down. So, maybe that's okay. Could feed states to them. UK having good relations with us is nice. or they'll be genial. So we can get a trade agreement here. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna add a woke law for when you're below a certain threshold. I have a sneaking suspicion that's not in the cards. How many are migrating from Austria? Oh, I don't even... It's a good way for us to know how much is coming from an individual country. Probably a decent chunk. There's a lot of devastation there. It's like 250 weeks. Yeah. So 2.5 million. Are revs stronger now, or does it depend on it? It depends on agitation level, but they can take the capital, which is a really significant difference. So yeah, that's just a really big difference. Alright, we don't have the thing for... We don't have an industry for specifically tools, so tools are something we can push that's part of the construction loop that doesn't have a company for it. I really hate this play pattern though, that like we don't want to build it because the company, but then we like do want to build it because it's better to build. So it might be the case that you like using consumer companies just feels better. I don't know if it is better. We could also build lead and sulfur. Yeah, Persia has no wood. Yeah, that tracks. Liberate Amazonia is like a war goal I like so much. Maybe we need to try and increase prestige a bit too. Let's bring us up to... Let's do that. So that'll be a 50 stack, and then this is... going to be 39, 49, just 250 stack maybes for now. They'll take a little while to employ up or whatever, but that's fine. Let's do some of that. Looking for places we have a tax deficit and qualifications. Not worth a single Russia before getting all the Caucasus. This army is so bad. Our revs, we already answered that. What do you think of multiplayer in Victoria 3? And without mods, what would you change for it, or in general? Depends what your goals are with the multiplayer. I assume it's just RPing and vibing. I like playing on mods, but you said without mods, because mods can help rebalance stuff. You could release every country at game start from or release countries from some of the stronger countries and just agree to have like more medium power level. You have a tendency to play big countries. Any favorite middle powers? Middling, I think I like Persia and Spain quite a bit. We're gonna maybe play Mexico sometime soonish. Maybe Mexico's interesting. Breaking up Austria is its own reward. Fair enough. I don't think these are worth it, generally. In your analysis, why is the game harder after 1.8? There's a lot of reasons why it's harder. One reason why it's harder in terms of, you're talking about having a positive balance, they really made running high taxes a lot worse. Then there's also, like, qualifications issues. So, I don't know what Mexico's doing. Mexico, like, didn't even mobilize. Also, when I sway a country to your side, their goals become primary, but if they sway to me, it's secondary. It depends. I don't know if you can put primary war goals on a... So here in this war, I think it might have to do with the fact that the war goals here are targeting a secondary participant and not a primary participant, and if it's on a primary participant, it becomes primary. They should add a law where the only accepted pops are Tewodros and his descendants. I would call it Tewodro-culturalism. Sounds pretty base, to be honest. Famine in Russia? Where is this? Sakhalin? That's fair. Fair is fair. No progress. God, I kind of hate this system. It makes sense. Kind of hate it. So now, we can go to all our places that are auto-expanding on the sulfur. Right, Samara, Kursk, and these, and we can add in fertilizer as well. Also explosives. There's Samara. I think Samara's kind of the best one. No, we don't want to put that on auto expand. God damn, dude. I don't like the way companies like are making us play. They're forcing us to. They're twisting our arm. JRK46? Jirik 46? Thank you for the follow. Big nice. Big nice. So Kursk and there as well. Okay, this seems good. I bet the Woeclaw will be there in 3, 2, 1. Someone could make a mod for it if they want. That'd be a kind of funny mod. You have to support your economy at first and pay for construction, so build construction sectors and stuff and feed them. Yeah. Well, new to Vic 3, I have one question. What's the best way to grow the economy? Yep, that's kind of the answer, is try and expand construction. Generalists making US pay for the wall confirmed, not like this. We're making them pay for the Russian wall, I guess. Hey journalists, I wasn't getting many migrants in Brazil, but when I got cultural exclusion, I got spammed with migrants. Any idea why? That's kind of weird because, as it stands currently, your level of acceptance doesn't limit migrants. My guess would be that Brazil specifically has a really high density of population that are like Afro-Brazilian, this type of stuff. And so if you're on national supremacy, they won't be very well accepted. And if they're not very well accepted, because you're on the national supremacy, like citizenship law, this is going to give them really, really low wages. And what happened would be my guess, if they were in culture erasure, like receiving minus 30% wages or whatever, is that their SOL came up quite a lot following your passing that. And once the SOL comes up, this increases migration attraction a little bit. Look on the bright side, at least it's not as bad as local goods. The company thing I actually think is worse. Like, no, Mexico. Not like this. We want to help Mexico out, but we're fighting Mexico. Not like this. We're not going to be able to enforce on Mexico before this before the escalation, I don't think. God damn it, dude. And the thing is, we can't join wars afterwards. Well, Diplo plays so need a rework. Because we can't join on Mexico's side after this. We don't want Mexico to get completely cucked like this. God, this is so stupid. We want to help Mexico out. This is so frustrating. Minotaurian traditionalist. Does like total separation. Let's give him a chance. Eventually he'll be Russian, which means he'll be in a hurry. God, I was hoping we'd be able to wipe peace here, but they have war goals. And we can't negotiate separate peace. Like, there's just so much wrong, like, with the Diplo play that, like, is just, like, evident right here. Which is, like, we can't negotiate a separate peace, specifically with Mexico. Here I'm writing this down, because I'm just, like, I'm frustrated. We might make a video on this. We can't negotiate a separate peace with Mexico so that we can join on the same side as Mexico. Can only join during escalation. Because we absolutely don't want the USA to, like, eat up a whole big chunk of Mexico. I like the new colonization restriction for when you take Kenya, so Britain can't keep colonizing Africa with their more interior African stuff, but I think the requirement of port is weird. The requirement of the port, like, actually, like, makes sense, but it is not a fun gameplay pattern. Like, as a simulation, it makes sense. Birthrate company's pretty good, yeah. We could maybe do that next, because we're doing food industries as well. Is making consumer goods companies actually the play now then? It might be. It might be just the play to use companies for their prosperity bonus too. I don't know. Brazil starts as racial segregation, but that makes sense. Yeah. We could join mid-war in Victoria. Yeah, there's no way for us to... We could, the only way is if we, like, swap sides, because... Like, stupid. We can't even propose the peace deal because the UK doesn't like it. Oh, they're all primary demands too, bro.
I'm just so sad. This is like, we would 100% help Mexico here. Wow, this system's so stupid. The diplomatic play is just super balls. We can't just, like, we can't join them afterwards. Just separate war, invade the US. There's not... I don't think that'll work. I think they still are going to enforce on Mexico. We would have to invade France as well, because France, even if we occupy 100% of the US troops, France will just beat Mexico. The diplomacy system just super sucks hard. Like, lack of a separate peace here. Like, if we could separate peace, we would just wipe peace out Mexico and then join on their side. And Mexico would be super down. Look like, Mexico is, like, super okay with a white peace. Give me GG, thank you for the follow, Big Nice. Yeah, I mean... I'm considering swapping sides and having them capitulate, and then just joining Mexico. I think this system's stupid. I think we're just gonna let it happen, though. It is asinine as hell. We'd been having interest in the region intentionally so that we could help Mexico this entire time. Like, and that is, like, the sole reason why we have those, like... Well, actually, in theory, we could get a U.S. bankroll, but we were planning on fighting the U.S. And we will really want to subjugate Mexico with sovereign empire, like, at some point. So, like... I guess it's just dead. The dream is dead. Accidental good press for Austria. The truth hurts. I don't know, we could have fought this war, like, tighter and, like, enforced on these guys as quickly as possible, but, like, I didn't know this would be a thing. The end of history. Shout out to history. Let USA take it, pub in Mexico, and take it back with more pops. USA has immigration. Oh, that's right. We can put war goals on behalf of our subjects now. Actually, that's not too bad then. We're kind of popping off now. It feels like. Yeah, now we can join the war. Perfect. We're rivaling the US and everything. Oh, France has some sort of alliance with the US. That's kind of annoying. The nice thing is, like, if you get someone with an alliance with you and you go around fighting all the GPs, you can prevent them from having good relations with the other GPs, too. Landed voting's gonna get in here pretty quick. Yeah.
When do we get our thing where we can go for these guys? Is it? I think it's 20 years that we can't fight them. Alright, I was like, it feels like it's coming up. Should save more on the bureaucracy. Just slowly getting stuff incorporated, man. I think we'll actually just EOS this to really juice that up. Do we have any movements we like? The Han... Mahayana rights movement, maybe. We could also suppress the Orthodox movement. Also the Confucian rights movement. Optimal sunlight, hell yeah, brother. They're gonna lose the core. No, I don't think they lose the core. Unless they fight a separate war. I can't join Texaco, Mexico wars, US. This is such a stupid situation in the early game. Yeah. The system of not being able to join ongoing wars is super asinine. I just found out about being able to right-click troops to the front. Yeah, baby. You didn't watch any of the teaser videos where they showed that? We haven't been doing it, but yeah, you can do this too. Look, did you know this? Did you see this, Gazla? You see this shit? You see this shit? You see us be able to right-click over here if we want? It's RTS time. They realized just how much micro is involved in their war system, so they're like, you know what? You know what? We got a fix for this. Boy, have we got a fix for you. Boy, have we got a fix for you. Yeah, this is so... Poor Mexico. Poor Mexico. We probably should have been a little bit more aggressive about looking for people. Oh, If we're on landed voting, we actually won't be able to use the liberal movement. I just realized they won't give a shit about one relative to the other. Well, this will give more rights. The more political power. Cultural exclusion does have the nice effect of giving more political power to the Han pops relative to national supremacy. They're still in cultural erasure, but we could maybe try building there a little bit more than we have been to try and encourage stuff. Plus 50, not like this. Trying to think if there's any other... The only other target we would have wanted to take was, like, California off of Mexico. I mean, I guess in theory we could subjugate Mexico right here. Or not right now, because of... Oh, we never went for this. Alright. Crazy we don't have a native interest in Arabia by now. Not gonna kill a market liberal. Go. A little bit more construction. We're making a lot of money, even though it doesn't look like it. We're making around 40k right now, because you have to add the two together. So I didn't know you still did Vic 3 videos. Jesus. The shade. I thought you were just a pro streamer now. Oh. Here we are releasing, I think, averaging more than one video a day this week. I think we're kind of fine getting off of this penalty. Bueller? Does it really only require -3? God damn it. Dynamite. Franco Marx shall be ours shortly. It'd be nice if we could increase this. I mean, we're trying to push that stuff up. I think we're passing this pretty comfortably anyway, so we don't need to do any of that. God damn it, Finland. I guess Finland's gonna get in. Good job, Finland. It's annoying when your subject does that and they don't have a chance of landing, and you're just like, alright, you got me, I guess. I think we already have a bunch of explosive industries, so this is going to play quite nicely here. Oh, we forgot to do this. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Should be good for us. And now we have some tech stuff to do. So we kind of want vacuum canning for, because we have the super good PM. But I think we gotta take a little bit of time. I think we go egalitarianism here. Central archives and stuff would be good too. But we'll just do egalitarianism for now. We kind of only have a couple more law passes that are really good, and so getting prop tax would be nice. Hey Zack Attack, how's it going? How you be? Getting back into Week 3, any tips for Japan in the early game? Japan is going to be a little bit rough. Can't start the economy as well as before. Yep, they've made it harder. I would say that government wages, being able to reduce those, are probably going to be pretty important for Japan. Don't run max taxes. If you run max taxes, you'll generate an enormous amount of turmoil. This is kind of like the new change to the metagame pretty significantly, is max taxes doesn't seem very good anymore. Averaging a video a day? You're excellenting a video a day. Thank you so much. I wouldn't mind companies as they work now if they increase the company cap. Yeah, having more companies would be sweet too. Hey, Sayuza, thank you for the raid. Big nice. How was your stream? Although Sayuza's off using the bathroom. Dear Sayuza viewers, that's what he's really doing. He sent you over here, and now he's running to the bathroom. He's like, shit, I gotta pee. Classic. It was good? Oh, you're not peeing. Crazy. Or if they made more buffs later in the tree to the companies, yeah, that would also help. I suggested, not that they could implement this in the short time frame, but instead of getting company slots, you got like industry slots that you could encourage, and companies sprout up organically, and that you get a variety of different companies and they compete with each other, and as they compete, they get more efficient, and as they acquire monopolistic powers, they get less efficient, and there's a little bit of a company minigame here. But like the current implementation, I think is just worse than 1.7. I would prefer 1.7. You have a pot under your chair? Good man has a piss bottle. Everyone knows you're not a real streamer unless you got a piss bottle. Doing good things? Yeah, okay, I'll take it slow and steady on the construction sectors. Just watch your radicalism and just try and avoid the construction penalty from turmoil. This is gonna be the big one. We're gonna do a Japan video sometime soonish, so I guess that might be the next bag we go for. I think we go for it now, actually. Well, we don't want to go over 25. I guess... we don't have Shaanxi. I think our relations with them is too good as well. We're thinking of going for Chinese state plus war reparations here. Maybe that's not even that good. We could return state our thing. Have they finally discovered how to use line infantry yet? Doesn't look like it. Wait, you're drinking from yours? Yeah, it's called reuse. replenish, recycle. In any event, gotta take care of the dogs, yep. You know, it feels good? Annexing Bengal for 1.4 infamy, that does feel good. I like companies directly owning the buildings, but I wish the state-driven companies, public and private sector was more fleshed out. Yeah. Like giving companies tax breaks for developing certain areas. Yeah, I wish that they could acquire the state shares as well. I don't like that I can't be the company buildings. Yeah, this is a strange thing that would be weird for the simulation, but it was brought up as something that maybe should be possible to do. Well, if we return state up here... We already have Tomsk. I guess we could go after Khakin then. Here. But are we supposed to fight Qing again and try and peel off war reps just on cooldown? I mean, they're a lot weaker. They're still weak. I wish we could just declare for war reps. Jibei. Ningxia gets released. I mean, we can just go for war reps and that. And then we'll liberate a little bit more, I guess. Like Hunan, Shandong, Shili. We kind of just want them to back down here, but... You revoke claim on Beijing. That's kind of nice. If push does come to shove. And then we'll go for Transvaal after here. Play pattern feels bad now. For companies, yeah, I agree. I'm not with it, as the cool kids would say. We could increase education access too. I'm not sure. Maybe we want to lean off the devout a little bit. It seems that qualifications are starting to get resolved here, so we'll just go for something like this. Tell these guys to kick rocks. also move the Navy over here. Yeah, 2 commanders in a Navy. Luckily we have such a bigger Navy than them. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna send a couple of these guys over to do naval landings. Kind of expecting them to back down here, but they have huge gold reserves. We do get a mandate, the mandate of heaven. Colonial offices 3. It's gonna give us reduced infamy. I guess we maybe could have waited, but that's gonna make this tick up quite a bit faster. We could maybe afford the other institution now. We could also just incorporate Beijing. Let's get started. We don't have a lot of institutions now, so it's really not too expensive. We need to get on pro-army is what we need. I, like, forget that we... Yeah, that happened. Let's land here in Beijing. I don't know if these guys get there in time. Cool, they do. That's the strategic objective, so let's try and do this. I thought we were already moving this guy. Did we get bricked when this got occupied? Maybe. Alright. We could see how exactly our election shakes out before we decide to go off or something. We do want to get off of these guys. Yeah, let's wait for the election. We could also piss off and abdicate. Are you play Stalker too? I don't think so. They're gonna back down, I wish. Is Manchuria subject already? No, we're probably just gonna take the states off of them. Oh man, we're slacking. We're accumulating like way too much money. That should get things going. I wonder if we can export this. Guessing no. I thought we could export stuff to them while we're fighting them. Feels good, man. Please, if you get your chance, could you explain the diplomatic action of hosting a power block's embassy? So, I don't know how often you want to host, but if you request a power block embassy or host it, what it's going to do is it's going to generate 400 leverage for the person that is giving the embassy, and also give ticking positive relations. So if you want to join someone's block, then hosting their embassy could be a good thing. If you don't want to join their block, you maybe don't want to do it, but it will give you ticking positive relations. It'll cost you a bunch of Diplo to host, though. So I don't know if it's better than just improving relations. I have to imagine it's not. I think we're okay with that with Spain, because we do want to pull them into our block eventually, and so us getting economic leverage over them will be useful. Alright, it's time for the election, baby. The Octoberist party is going to win, it looks like. But not by an enormous margin. So it looks like we could do this. Maybe we want appointed bureaucrats? We do want pro-army, though. It's not going to help the political situation very much, but... Could also just wait. I mean, we're researching egalitarianism. We could just wait 10 months. I don't think we're getting through that. I guess we can try and go after the clout of the landowners a little bit here. And that law will probably be the most effective for it. Jesus. Our auto queue's not keeping going very well. Do we have railway problems anywhere? Anywhere domestic? We do not. We are losing around 120k a tick, which is super okay. I think we're just going to full annex Cochin because we have a bunch of claims on them, and then that way we'll get access over there. We can now bankroll, although we don't have a Diplo. It's kind of shocking we don't have a lot of Diplo here. We have 2 rivalries. Guess we just do have a lot of subjects. Speaking of, let's maybe check them before we riggedy wreck them. I think Chile we don't really need, yeah, Chile we don't really need people to, we're gonna exempt them from service. Bolivia is kind of gonna be a little bit nice for us, although we have a big enough navy that we probably don't need that stuff. I don't mind kind of going after a little bit of extra clout here on the Intelligentsia. Let's take a look at our generals, actually. If they don't have a bad ideology, we're just going to promote up the Intelligentsia guys. Eh, he's not popular. I don't think this will move the needle too much on their clout, but let's take a look. So they're at 7.7 now. Oh, that's a huge jump, bro. It's a huge jump, brother. Now that we have a lot of Diplo, we can maybe take a couple looks under, or a lot of bureaucracy. We can maybe take a look at a couple of these. Do some of that as well. This guy's actually good. Create a fleet. Shout out to I think a warm weather port. Or cold weather port, rather. We can't retire that guy right away. So maybe look through ideologies, and guys who have shit ideologies in the landowners we're gonna retire if they're popular. He's not popular, but just looking to decrease their clout a little bit, and so I think being proactive. Ooh, we didn't want to give this. Being a little bit proactive about reducing on some of these is going to be useful for us. Yeah, because we're trying to wedge their clout down, and being proactive in this way is probably going to become more important than it has been previously. China's looking rough. Annexing a subject seems painful as hell now. Yeah. Which maybe makes, like, I don't know, maybe you're supposed to actually conquer in South America. War criminal time. Looks like Great Britain doesn't want to help. It's fantastic. We will need to mobilize a lot of guys to beat them. Because they have a really good defensive bonus. I think we can spare the bureaucracy right now. We're kind of in a little bit of a glut, so that'll be fine. With the eco changes in regards to companies and profitable buildings firing people to keep dividends high, wages being really low, what do you think the growth bet is in this patch? I mean, I think you want to do low government wages, but, depends what you mean by meta. Like, a lot of the stuff that I think that's good is still going to be good. I don't really know what companies are going to be best, though. Because right now we're suffering from... We have in companies that are for the construction goods, which means that we don't want to build the construction goods ourselves. Which feels really weird and bad. And I'm not sure what the answers are. I don't have the answers, Sway. So... We're building, like, oblique industries, so we can really push the tools quite a lot. Because the tools feed into the various industries that we like, so... Carlo, thank you for the follow, big nice. Journalist, hey, Soviet Jew. Are the Canal companies, tier 3 construction mandate companies worth it this patch? The Canal companies are probably really good. Like, a lot better. So, we slotted in a company, like, within the first 20 years for wood. At the time, it had 5 out of, like, 130 of all the total logging camps. We can check its market share now. But I think that the companies are really bad at acquiring market share. And if they are bad at acquiring market share, so we have 186... And this company is in Moscow, and it has 16. So 16 out of 186. So we've gone from like 4% market share to like 8 or 9. I think this is too slow for being 20 years deep in the game. Meaning that the companies just don't acquire enough market share, and so I think we actually might slot out this company and instead... yeah, it might be the case we want to slot out this company and instead slot in a company for the purposes of going for their prosperity bonus. Now, New Russia Limited has good prosperity bonus, so we don't really mind that. But I think it's probably not good enough. So I think that it's going to be the case that the prosperity bonus is going to be what to play for. Kind of surprised you haven't annexed the Caucasus states already. I thought there was like 20-year cooldown. 1920 and your game is speeding along. What's your company like market share look like? Yankees fan? Because this is something we're still trying to figure out here. Like, this is a really strong bonus. Railway throughput and infrastructure. And notably, like, we don't mind not having to build the engines ourselves. %10 influence is pretty strong. 10% prestige is kind of attractive, along with industrials attraction. I mean, we could swap out for Russian steel. Probably going to be really good. The fact that we have felt like we can't build... Like, the most painful thing is we feel like we can't build actively wood right now as a result of this thing. And... yeah. We could do the Russian Food Consortium. I actually kind of like this idea because I've been wanting to experiment with that a little bit more anyways. And we're doing the food thing. God. Oh, and when we disband, they go to the French Republic instead of us? That's stupid. We built them, dog. Let's check the ownership actually before we do this. Let's check the ownership here. So these guys are like kind of flying in terms of proportion. Why are you able to get market share so much better? Because we have fewer coal mines plus iron mines plus steel. And these guys are now kind of acquiring a decent market share of these. Why is that? Whereas our wood things, we couldn't get anywhere near it. I guess we started with like 130 wood anyways. And so we've only added like 60 marginal wood. And of the wood we've added, a decent chunk has gone to them. Like 14 out of 60, so like 25%. That 25% though doesn't cut it. You can't play for a bonus with 25%. It's not worth it relative to before. Or like, I think it's probably going to be more worth playing for a prosperity bonus, especially because you're like playing catch up. I mean, we could build wood and hope that our guys buy it, but I don't think they're going to get that much of it. To be fair, the infrastructure has been kind of nice. Infrastructure isn't a terrible bonus. We're gonna need a railroad in Tula after we get rid of the company. But I think we don't want this company anymore. I thought we'd be able to slot in the steel company, if not this. Let's, I guess, build another one of these and try and slot in that company. Got so many bad generals in a run yesterday that I had to create 2 armies just to get them on hold. It do be like that sometimes. I think you still build those goods yourself. That feels so bad if we do. Is Forbidden City actually employing? It shouldn't be yet until we get onto total separation. If our understanding of the mechanics is correct. Construction goods will still be profitable, and you building construction goods isn't going to keep the companies from doing the same. My Carnegie Steel has 1,400 levels. You do it as certain you get at Miltech. Usually it's tier 2. Okay. I don't know about the breakdown of how much they own of what, but I've got 2,100 coal mines, 1,200 iron, 800 steel, and then you have 1,400 levels in Carnegie. So that's obviously on a per construction basis it's going to change, but that's what, like 33, 4,000. So you have like a third ish. But the thing is, you're like not getting the full benefit if you don't get the construction. If you're building them yourself and then the companies are buying them, you're like missing out on construction. But like maybe you don't care. Any tips on playing Sweden? I can do Japan alright, but only ever played as Japan. I'm not sure how to approach actually having tech and no pops. Just make sure you open borders. It'll be like the other thing in reverse. Migration's pretty strong, so that will just kind of take care of it for you. You've had it slotted in for 48 years. Yeah, I mean, maybe we should have just built more wood, but how do you see a company's market share? You just kind of extrapolate it. We look at our buildings and we see, hey, We have 53 coal mines, 81 iron mines. That's 130 plus steel. We're not going to have too terribly much. We have 14 steel. So what did we say? It's 130. It's 150-ish. And so of those 150-ish levels, New Russia Limited, the company in here, owns, I think, like 20 levels. Sorry, the company in here owns 21 levels. Forestry company owns a ton of rubber. It's got 20% of the food industry. Your forestry owns a ton of rubber. Yeah, so even the numbers you're giving, I think that playing for the prosperity bonus is going to be better. Super good companies are the best this patch. If they have good bonuses, they become insane. Yeah. I think we might do the food one and generic steel. Oh, we could also do this game. Let's actually not build that there. It's gonna have significant construction problems, and they probably don't have a port. They don't. Shout out to them. Is Krupp steel guns artillery good? Maybe. I don't know exactly what bonus they give. I think that one wasn't good before. It might be good now. How are we doing on radicals? So we're generating radicals still. I was hoping we wouldn't be. I guess we have fewer loyalists because we got off national supremacy from, like, the national supremacy stuff. And us being under 50 legitimacy is hurt. This doesn't seem like it's doing too much. It hasn't been in that long, but the bolstering is pressing. We're looking to rake back authority somewhere. You have guys who will join liberal or peasant movements. This is not exactly what we want. There we go. We, of course, will have a huge advantage, but they will have, like, infinite... Wait, where's their defensive bonus go? The fuck? That's not usual. 10% kill rate is Krupp. That's probably pretty good. 10% railway throughput. Krupp's probably good this patch then. I think before they haven't really been very good. Is it just the one state? Do they really have... No, they don't. Okay, so we do have to force play. Alright. Super. We will put these guys down. Not a moderate rainfall. Hey journalist, first time tuning in live. Hey Prague. Pragiavelli. Probably not going to go too much longer, but welcome to the stream. Oh no. Becomes Russian and Ukrainian homeland. Hell yeah, brother. We love ourselves some good colonization, except we don't. Oh, it looks like I do have to own all these levels. Or wait, no, this one's still finishing up. Andy Barfinkel, thank you for the follow. Big nice. I'm having trouble keeping up with your birth rate. 20k construction and your peasants are numbers stuck at 50 million. Have you tried doubling construction? Or something like that? If you play 40 construction. Do you play as Prussia yet? Their troops just shred people? Even France? Do they start with more experience or something? Labor movements may be good. Pharmaceuticals may be good. We go labor movement here. I would like a movement to spawn for labor. After this finishes, we will maybe be able to put in the thing. Let's try importing sugar, fish, and grain. Super flat standard of living, man. I think us, like, crushing our own workforce ratio in that war against Austria is also probably pretty bad. Try having construction. No, not like this. You were waiting for your construction companies to build construction goods? Oh, that makes sense. Is there any way to watch this live stream back in full? Yes, there is. You can watch it on either Twitch or if you look at if you click on my YouTube profile and you click on live, it should have all the live streams, VODs of all the live streams. Have you tried doubling construction? Very generic generalist answer. If there was a generalist like wind-up doll where you pull like a string on the back of it, that would be one of them. Really interesting to see how you're playing since the update. A lot of things have changed quite a bit. The interesting one for us, at least noticing this episode, is qualifications seem to matter a lot more. I think we can slot in. Not yet. Didn't we finish the level? Does this level have to get bought out before... We have a 5 level here. Why can we not make company? Why can we not make food company? Why can we not make food company? Did they not hotfix this? Oh my god, we gotta finish 5 food companies on the same week, dude. That's so asinine. We don't have 5 to transfer. It says we just have 1. I thought I could transfer. Alright, we'll just build it there, I guess. We're probably gonna wrap up this war and then call it. Got really sleepy all of a sudden. I don't know what that's about. Don't we have a journal? Oh, we gotta... There we go. Peace in Chechnya outlast. Yeah, that'll last forever. They get the legacy permanently. So now we have to reduce turmoil. And they're gonna try and have separatist movements. Something like this. You can't buy a building from yourself, I assume, is the problem. So we need that building to not be nationalized. It's pretty cute. Oh, well, it got purchased. It got purchased by France. We could check and see if we can slot in the company now. Nope, we cannot. Watching on Twitch is unbearable these days. I am not a fan of Twitch's, the way they do commercials. They're just like an unskippable, like 90-second commercial break is just like Jesus. Or ad break. Hey Gene, how's it going? We're about wrapping up here. You still feeling good about 1.8? I am feeling good. I'm feeling very good about 1.8 overall. I think that, well, I mean, I really don't like the companies thing, but it's at least playable. I think I really like the movements thing. Sample size is still pretty small, so I don't know if we get like a lot of the reoccurring play patterns and this type of thing. It'll take a little bit of time to like bear this out, but I think that this is just an enormous improvement, and like there's really nothing in the patch that's like I also like the new discrimination system to being not binary, but I think that like it feels a little bit weird. I think the metagame is going to be warped a little bit around like just being able to employ up the Forbidden City, which is kind of strange. Like I think you go cultural exclusion so you can employ the Forbidden City. So early on, if I form a company for wood for the infra bonus, do I just stop building wood at that point and let the company take over? Well, maybe not. You might just... Wood's, like, really good to build. You probably just build the wood. It just feels bad because you don't get to get the construction benefits. I'll double construction when you enable YouTube memberships. Fair. Fair. Yeah. I think if you're not an LF, you have to personally own all the industries. Yeah, you do, but we are on LF. What are the best early game companies to get? I don't really know. So the Canal companies are really good in a world where you're caring about prosperity bonus because you don't feel that you can properly utilize either company throughput or construction. Like they're probably like, well, they're really good up to a certain like economic level. Like if you have 400 million GDP, they're not going to be good anymore. But I think the one that gives construction's pretty good. I think that paper's even pretty good. Paper's an interesting one. But giving the percent bureaucracy is kind of a pretty big decrease in costs. I think that the generic steel's probably going to be really, really good as well. I think companies were a lot stronger before 1.8. I think they were stronger overall as well, despite the bonuses being bigger. I was searching for a new Vic 3 content creator, entered the stream, got 3 ads, left right away. Or sorry, got 9 ads. Yeah, basically. Speaking of Twitch, let's find someone to raid, because I don't think you could raid on YouTube, so... overall, like, Twitch seems the ad experience, and, also... Here, we raided Tarkus yesterday. Let's see if anyone's doing Victoria 3. The ad experience, and also the player, the thing that plays the video player, both seem considerably better on YouTube. Just the chat features and this type of stuff seem better on on Twitch. Like, Twitch has more support for that type of stuff. I guess we're going to raid Tarkus. We didn't see anyone who really tickled our fancy in the YouTube streets for a lot of not English for Victoria 3. So... let's do that, and then we will link his Twitch, because we have that link, but he's also going to be live on YouTube, almost certainly, for Tarkus. And other than that, you guys have a good one. I don't know when we'll be back streaming. Probably next Saturday is going to be our next stream. I'm not entirely sure. We might change some things up with the way we do things, but I hope you guys have a good one. Goodbye now. Godspeed.